To first understand something, we must first choose what information to look at, which in itself can often be more important than analyzing the information itself. Hey there, welcome to our 5-minute podcast summary with 1 quote, 3 ideas, and 1 question from an episode. This episode covers the best ideas from the Jordan B.Peterson podcast episode with Scott Barry Kaufman. We explore how emotions aren't good or bad, reshaping Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and sexual selection. The ideas in this episode are from Scott Barry Kaufman, who's a cognitive scientist and humanistic psychologist exploring the mind, creativity, and the depths of human potential. He is founder and director of the Center for Human Potential and also the host of the #1 psychology podcast in the world, the Psychology Podcast. His latest book is Transcend: The New Science of Self-Actualization. Now let's dive into the key ideas. The first idea comes at 50 minutes, where Scott says, "Nothing is absolutely good or bad when it comes to emotions. Anger or anxiety, interpreted in a healthy manner, can be a useful and positive emotion. The emotions themselves aren't inherently positive or negative. It's how you react and integrate them into the rest of your life that determines whether there's a positive or negative impact. We're so quick to bucket certain emotions in a good or bad bucket that we forget that there are always ways to handle them well or poorly." The second idea comes around 52 minutes, where Scott says, "Maslow's hierarchy of needs was never drawn by himself in the shape of a pyramid. Maslow always emphasized the deep integration of all the human needs, where each of the higher needs are strongly intertwined with other needs. You don't clear a level and not have to worry about it. Each need is constantly shifting. And until you can meet certain needs within Maslow's hierarchy, it makes it incredibly hard to not think about anything else other than those needs. But once you've met all those needs, you're able to live in the world where instead of seeing how each person can assist in your deprivation of those needs, you'll be able to simply see people for who they are, purely and in their full beauty." The third and final idea comes at 1 hour and 22 minutes, where they discuss how sexual selection is an underappreciated factor that determines how we evolve as a species. Natural selection is about what traits and characteristics are best for surviving, while sexual selection is about the traits and characteristics best for reproductive success. As humanity as a species moves away from survival being the sole focus of our lives, the more sexual selection becomes an important factor in determining the future of our species. A question that we think is worth reflecting on after listening to this episode is, can you think of a healthy way to interpret what we inherently think is a bad emotion? So, those were some of the best ideas from the episode. Some of the other topics covered include the general accuracy of the IQ test, but also its limitations, the 5 different personality types and when they come into conflict, and the transition from naivety to cynicism to courage. We hope you've learned and been inspired by our podcast episode summary. We've got summaries of other podcasts like The Tim Ferriss Show, Hidden Brain, Making Sense with Sam Harris, and more. Check out the link in the description if you're in Apple Podcasts, or search for podcast summaries on any other podcasting app. We've also got a weekly email digest of the best ideas from written summaries, and the original episode link, both in the description. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and share if you want future episode summaries.